Australia is very big and very empty. The vast majority of the land has an average population density less than 1 person per square kilometre. A population density that is the equivalent of a single person standing in a tennis court that is 1 square kilometre in size. This sparse population makes tennis matches very difficult. It also makes transporting goods and livestock quite hard. Since much of these lands are used for farming and mining, and since farming and mining is a large part of the Australian economy, inland transport is greatly needed. In order to transport these resources, Australia uses road train. A road train is like a rail train, but rather than travelling on shiny metal rails, they travel on non-shiny, non-metallic roads. Often these roads are just gravel or dirt that has been graded flat-ish. Road trains consist of a powerful prime mover that pulls up to 4 trailers. Sometimes even longer configurations are used on private roads. This arrangement is more efficient than using separate trucks, as each trailer sits in the slipstream of the trailer ahead, minimising drag. A vehicle this big requires a very big engine. Petrol engines that burn gasoline make use of a spark plug. This ignites a flame front that propagates down the cylinder. The speed at which this flame moves puts an upper limit on the size of the cylinder, so they are not used for trucks this size. Instead, a diesel engine is used. In a diesel engine, the fuel-air mixture is ignited by squeezing the fuel until it becomes hot enough to burn. This means that the ignition sort of happens everywhere in the cylinder, allowing diesel engines to be scaled up to ridiculously large sizes. There is a downside to diesel engines. With the high pressure and the temperature, sometimes oxygen will end up reacting with the nitrogen in the air rather than the fuel. This will create chemicals like nitric oxide and nitric dioxide, also termed as NOx. Not to be confused with NUX, which is also another toxic pollutant. NOx is a very effective pollutant. It is a toxic irritant that can react with other substances to create nitric acid and smog. There is an easy way to get rid of NOx though. Nitrogen really wants to bond with other nitrogen to create elemental N2, while oxygen just loves to oxidize things. If you provide NOx with a nitrogen-containing oxidizable substance, it will react with it, consuming the NOx. The first chemical used for this was ammonia, but ammonia is very toxic, and as a pollutant, it can be worse than NOx. A better alternative is urea, the chemical that makes up mammalian urine, or piss. Urea is a relatively non-toxic and is less polluting than NOx. So trucks have systems that mix urea with the exhaust in their catalytic converters to clean up the NOx from their exhaust. Before 2021, Australia got most of its urea for diesel engines and fertiliser from the People's Republic of China. However, during 2021, political tensions with China started to grow over the typical things, so China decided to cut Australia off of its supply of urea. Soon Australians began to worry that their ability to transport products inland would be crippled. Thankfully, Australia was able to find a new source of synthetic urea. Its northern neighbour, Indonesia, along with some new projects for domestic production in the Pilbara region of Western Australia. This crisis seems to be averted for the time being. And if you want to hear me continue to take the piss, please subscribe.